I would now like to invite our speakers to share their opening remarks on the role of HR as a strategic partner in business.
I thought ladies first.
Chivalry just exchanged hands.
So I actually thought that it would start from Meena's side, so I would have just said ditto, and my thoughts can kind of get over by doing that. But anyways, thanks for inviting us, and also till now patiently listening to my colleagues, and I hope that continues. So when I was discussing this with Shobika in terms of this topic, this entire event and all of that, and she also very quickly checked with me, do you need any laptop presentations to be made or anything? So I was actually worried, saying that, oh no, I will have to prepare presentation also for this. I first thought it's a panel discussion, though I just need to go there, sit. Most of the questions I can divert to some of the other panel members, and I can kind of get away with. And I asked her, saying that, is it necessary to? So she said no. So I said, okay, then I will come definitely. So that's the reason I don't have any presentation, because I know only how to operate Word and Excel. I don't know how to operate PowerPoint. So that is another reason why I did not prepare a presentation. I was thinking about this topic, and I was reminded of days in Crompton Greaves, and where I started my career. And I was thinking, is it now that we are talking about HR's role as a strategic partner in businesses, or is it something which was there and we have just kind of started talking about it now? And that reminded me of a particular event in Crompton Greaves that happened. So we were in Crompton around 1998-99. It was a very, very bad period for Crompton, especially for the entire Maharashtra units. There were a lot of business units within the entire Maharashtra region, and right at the top level there were a lot of changes in terms of leadership, and all of that happened, and we were running into losses, huge losses. Crompton was just running into huge losses, and that's when the senior leadership also changed, and there were new leaders who were brought in by LM Thapar, Karan Thapar, all of them. So during that time, it was decided, and I was part of Transformers division. So there were many divisions there, and I was part of Transformers, and it was decided that we will have to cut cost in a very, very significant way. And there were around 1,196, I still remember that number, 1,196 workers in just the Transformer division. And we said, this just cannot work the way it is right now. We will have to cut cost. So the first thing that was discussed was, can we offload some of the work, and by which we can actually save cost. And we said, yes, there are certain things which can be offloaded. For example, we said fabrication. When you manufacture transformers, there is a fabrication unit who actually fabricates or prepares the complete tank of the transformer. And we said fabrication is more to do with the perfection in terms of the size and all of that, and you can still kind of give it to or offload it to someone, and someone can kind of do it. It's not your technology which is going out. So we said fine, so fabrication as a function will go out. Now why I'm narrating this is we had a HR head at that time. Of course, we used to call him as personnel manager. I don't know how many people now get to read this term called personnel, and how many of you would know the meaning of personnel, but that is how it was termed. And you'll not believe that this person was driving or was responsible or was made responsible to take this complete function, this complete fabrication department out of Crompton's transformer division and offload it to someone. If I just go back and think about all this, I think that is what a strategic partner's role is all about. There was so much of confidence in him which was shown by the management because of his skills, because of his experience and all of that, that he was given that responsibility to take this thing completely out and kind of ensure that it is done as a very, very smooth transition. Now it sounds very simple that you have to just take one function out and give it to somebody else, and from next day or from Monday morning that company will start producing or start manufacturing tanks for you, and those tanks will be shipped back to your factory, and then you can do the rest of the processing. It sounds very simple. The most difficult part is this transition, and the most difficult part is not the transition of the process or transition of the material or whatever it is, or not signing the agreement with that particular company. That's the most easiest thing to do. You tell them what you want and they will do what you want, because you are going to pay them and they are going to get a business which is going to be probably a lifelong kind of a business. The most difficult is what do you do with the people that you have in that particular function or in that particular department within your division. How do you convince, and we had very, very strong unions at that time. So how do you convince union leaders? How do you convince people who are there? What do you do with those people? Who all goes out of the company? Who all stays within the company but in some other departments? How do you decide who will stay within the company? All of that. And that's the most important activity, or that's the most important work that was done by this gentleman. And that was fabulous. It was done in such a way that there was no disruption in the entire transition that happened. And that to me is a strategic partnership role played by a so-called personnel, now HR manager of Crompton. So if you look at it, the difference or the change is it used to be personnel. I think in around 1999 in Crompton, maybe Crompton was a little late compared to some of the other companies, but we first hired a HR manager from a B school. And HR manager in the sense, we said that this person's designation will be HR executive, and then the person grew up to the level of HR manager or whatever it is. So that was the first year when we said we will get someone and designate that person as HR person. What will this person do? This person will be responsible for very little hiring, and this person will be responsible for implementation and coordination of PMP process, and this person will be responsible for coordination of training programs. So that's how the HR was looked at that time. Okay, and who will design the PMP process? So great people like Uday Parekh and TV Rao had already designed the entire PMP process, the career progression and all of that, and so this person will only do that. So that was a particular stage. When I moved to Patni, I was designated as HR executive, and I was very happy saying that I was not designated as HR in Crompton. So I moved out and I joined Patni, and I realized that the role is more or less same. You are not doing anything much different than what it was in Crompton. But then fine. I then moved to city, and that's when things changed. So it is not because I moved, it is because of that particular time, and people started realizing HR's role over a period of time. It is when people started realizing that there is a lot of value addition that happens, is done by HR people in the entire business, and therefore it needs to be looked at in a more serious way. That's the time when people started calling this HR role as HR business partner role. Today we call it as HR strategic partner role. So it's actually not something which HR people have, to me, started handling this role or managing this kind of a work now. It is for so many years that they are doing. So a lot of seniors that we know who are HR gurus who have done this kind of a role. I think, to me, the difference is two things. One is, at every level of HR today, be it the junior most HR person to the senior most HR person, you are expected to add value to your business. So that's one. Probably, in 95, 96, 97, when I was in Crompton, at that time, the expectation from you as a HR was only transactional work and nothing else. So you be accurate in all your transactional works. Your PF form which you are getting it filled from your employees should be accurate so that it's not rejected by the PF department, and that's all. Then you are home. You have done, your KRAs are met, and all of that. It's probably the expectation. It's probably the realization that yes, there's a lot of value which is delivered by HR in your businesses, and it's a important function. As someone also very rightly said, it's not just we who are HR in the organization, it's actually the entire organization who actually needs to play HR's role, because we are more facilitators. We are more to kind of give directions, to help, to be with people, to create that safety net for people so that you don't fall and things would not fall, and you're there to kind of take care of things. Because anything, to my understanding, anything that goes wrong in terms of your processes, that goes wrong in terms of your technology, can be corrected. If something goes wrong in terms of your people, it cannot be corrected. So you need to be sure that what you're doing with regard to your people is absolutely correct, and that is the reason we are there with the real HR managers, to ensure that they understand people, they are sensitive enough, and they take care of. I will not use the word resource because Harjeet would mind me using the word resource to understand people. So Harjeet, I was listening to you. So that's the so-called transformation of HR's role, in last couple of years, and that is the reason we are here today to talk about that strategic partnership role that HR can play in businesses, and how important it has become today. Fine, I know that you people will have a lot of questions, so I will not keep talking right now here, but I just wanted to kind of set the context as to me, how it has moved from a traditional HR role to a more value-adding HR role in the current scenario of businesses. Thanks.